Okay, well now I have a bunch of wet tinder. So we're going to go ahead and try the magnifying glass. Alright, so I'm back. Last night I did the log cabin fire lay, and we lit that with the edge of the back of the knife, the spine of the knife, and the ferro rod. Today I was going to do a solar ignition using a latex balloon filled with water as the magnifying source. I started that this morning, and I don't know, I think it could have worked, but I accidentally hit one of my sticks in my fire lay, and I ruptured the balloon with the pressure on it. I was squeezing it to get the bubble to magnify the sun, and I ripped the latex. So the balloon is out. That's the only one I have. I guess I'll do that again in the future when I can get another one. But for the fire today, I'm going to switch over to another solar source. I'm going to use my 7x magnification glass lens. So we've got that. And let me show you what we're going to do for tinder and kindling. So my tinder is going to be this. This is Weed Ovum. And I'm going to take this light, fluffy, fuzzy stuff that is in the middle of the pod, the milkweed pod, and I'm going to process that down in my hand. And then after I do that, I'm going to lay it into this bed here, which is Fatwood shavings, and I'm going to put a little bit more Fatwood dust, the fine shavings, using the spine of the knife to rub against the Fatwood chunk here. This is the same piece of Fatwood I used for the fire last night. So I'm going to use that to process down here. I'll do that on the camera for us. And then I just want to give you for fairness, I do have a piece of my homemade fire wafer tinder that I make, and I will show that to you. Give me just a moment here. Let me open up the tin with that in it. So in my tin, these are the fire wafers that I made, and the rule to use a synthetic tinder is that I have to provide you with video and instructions of what it's made of, how I do it, so that you can see that process and know that I actually manufactured that myself. So in the video link, in the comments of the video link on the YouTube, I will put a link to the video for where I make my fire wafers, and I'll also put it in the Facebook comments for the challenge for the Gray Wolf Fire Challenge badge for my second fire lay. In those comments or in that explanation box for the post, I will put a link to that YouTube video for the fire wafers. So let me go ahead and set the camera and show you here real quick. This is with the Fatwood and the shavings and the powder or the dust. Then the small, oops, there's a little piece of my milkweed ovum in there. Milkweed ovum, yeah. And then my fine, medium, and a little bit larger tinders and small fuels that will go on to build. I am going to build a basic tinder lay using the Fatwood shavings, the Fatwood dust, and the milkweed ovum. Get that going, and then I'm going to try and light that with the lens, with the 7x lens, and then I will do what's called a scatter lay, where I lightly begin to pile in succession the smaller, and as that catches, the little bit bigger, and as that catches, the biggest of my small fuel. So my small and larger tinder, and then my small fuel, I will begin to pile on top of that for my fire. So stick around, let me get the camera set up. I'm going to process a little bit more of the Fatwood down for us, just so you can see me doing that. I didn't do any of that in the previous video for the other fire, so I just want to do it here so that you can see that I've actually done that myself. And then we'll go out on the patio, and I'll try and use the sun and the lens to get this going. So for my blade, I will be using from Davy Brock Crawford of Brock Knives in Ireland, the Horseman. I'm going to use the 90-degree edge of my spine, and I'm going to put that across, rub that against the Fatwood to create the little shavings here. Hopefully you can see that. The little powder stuff that's coming off there. Real fine. And I've already done some of this, so I'm not going to do a bunch. I just want you to see me processing it so that I can add it in. So I'm going to sprinkle that over there, and then I'm also going to do some Fatwood curls or shaving. I'm not going to try and do a feather stick. If we get one, that's fine, but I just want the pieces for my smallest layer of tinder. There we go. All right, so there's my Fatwood here. And with everything that we do in our skills challenges, safety is of the utmost importance. I am wearing glasses, and I'm always pointing the blade away from me. So there's the shavings, there's the curls or the fatter shavings. And then I'm going to process down some of this milkweed ovum. I'm going to pull that out of here. I don't want all of it. I just want a chunk of it out of the middle. I want to make sure that I leave the rest of this stuffed inside the pod. And I keep that in a little cotton pouch so that I have that if I ever need to use that. And then process, I'm going to take that all and I'm going to rub it in my hands into a ball, and then I'm going to fluff it. So let's go ahead and do that. Get that all wadded up here, and I'm going to rub it into a ball in my hand, right? Compress it, condense it, and then I'm going to fluff it here. Hopefully you're seeing that. Get that fluffed. That's what I'm hoping is going to take my solar ray, right, and ignite. I think I'm going to put a little bit more Fatwood on there, especially the little fine powder stuff. I don't know if you can see the moisture in the tray here where my balloon ruptured when I did this earlier, so all of that tinder was soaked. And that's fine. I'm going to leave it at the bottom there. Some of that is in there, and hopefully it'll work out. Let's just get a little bit more of this. Just to give it a little bit more to bite onto the flame, to ignite, and kind of to hold that milkweed ovum fiber in place. If there's any wind out there, I just want a little bit of weight on it. I don't want to do ferro rod again, so if the solar lens does not work, then I will wait and come back, or I'll do flint and steel, or I'll do something like that. But I want to do something other than ferro rod for this challenge. So here's hoping. I'm going to stack all of my fuel on here. Big stuff on this side, the larger, so this is the small fuel or the largest tinder, this are kindling, this is my medium kindling, and then this is my small tinder and kindling here before we bump up into fuel. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, take this out onto the patio, and get set up with the solar lens on a table, so hopefully we can get recording angle. And then we're going to go ahead and try and get this lit for you. Stick around. Right. I am back. I'm on the patio now, and I've got this set up. Go ahead and put the camera over here onto the tray. So, got my little pile here, and this is my milkweed ovum that I processed down. And I think I'm actually, before I do that, I'm going to pull it off. I'm going to rub it up in my hand just a little bit more and re-fluff it. Just to give it as much surface area as I can. Separate it out, fluffy and as open as I can get it, so hopefully I can get that to take the ray of sun. So here's the lens. I'm going to try and get this where you guys can see. Okay, see the little, okay, right here. So follow that light. I'm going to work it up onto the fiber here. Let's see if we can't get it to ignite. I'm trying to keep the beam right at the edge of the fibers and on the right at the edge of the fiber and the Fatwood shavings to focus. There we go. Solar ignition. That's going to burn quickly, so I need to get some of this little stuff just kind of scattered on here. I don't want to suffocate, I just want it on. Lots of airflow. Air can flow under it. Go. I'm going to take my knife. I'm just going to shoot some more Fatwood shavings in here. So there's Fatwood, a little bit more. Put my plate back. So as you can see, that smaller stuff is catching, so I'm going to start laying some of the little bit bigger stuff on. See the flames dancing around in there a little bit. There you go. And that's the magnifying lens. And that is video number 2, fire lay number 2. We did homemade fire wafer as a piece of my tinder. I did Fatwood dust or powder, Fatwood shavings and curls, and I did twigs and small sticks, and then Weed Ovum was my flash tinder, and 7x magnifying lens to get the flame going on the Weed Ovum to catch that initial spark or ember, and then a little bit of blowing on it, and then once it took, it just completely took off. It was super fast, and that was during the pause while I wasn't recording, so I had to get it recording again real quick so you could see it taking off. And then we built up the fire with the little teeny twigs, and then the small stuff, and now the little bit bigger stuff, and it's burning just fine. It'll burn itself out. It'll run until it's done. So thanks for watching, and can't wait to see the rest of your guys' videos and see what comes up here in the next couple of weeks, see what else we throw out there. Just finishing up here, the fire's about to go out. That's what's left of the second fire challenge, fire lay.